Hi, my name's Oliver. I'm the community manager and watchmaker here at Enickson, based in Belfast. I just wanted to give everyone a bit of an idea of the process that we go through when we get an order from a customer. So when a customer places an order, the order comes through to myself. I look at exactly what's been specified and then start to construct that watch. So I sit down at the workbench, select a case from our case storage. The case is then hand finished by myself. It's polished, it's brushed. At that point, it then goes to one side and I start work on the movements. So depending on what watch has been purchased will depend on the movement that goes into the watch. So we use a number of Seiko movements, the NH35A, which is a movement that I quite enjoy working on because it's a real solid workhorse. It gets a bit of a rough press in some watch circles because it's not very glamorous, but that's kind of why I like it. As well as that, we are now using a new STP Swiss movement, which is really beautifully finished. It's a lovely movement to work on as well, and a number of quartz movements from Seiko. The movement sits on the desk. It is then fitted with a dial, a handset, and fitting hands is a bit of a challenging part of the process because they are incredibly fragile, very easily scratched if not handled properly. The way that this is done is the watch movement is set to the correct point, 12 o'clock, so that when the date change occurs, it happens as close to 12 o'clock as absolutely possible. Once the movement's set to the 12 o'clock position, the hands are then fitted one at a time, so the hour hand, then the minute, and the second. And this is done very carefully by placing them on top of the movement and then putting them down with a very specially designed hand press. Once the hands are pressed, it's then a case of testing the tolerance between each hand to check that there's no interference with the dial and the hands themselves. And then the movement is taken through a number of testing processes. After this process, the hands and the dial are then cleaned. Compressed air is used to remove any debris that might have been present. We have a very sterile environment, but just in case anything finds its way into the watch. So at this point, the case is then introduced. The case is put over the movements, the hands and the dial, and it's flipped over so that the movement is then secured into the case with specialised case screws. And then it goes to be tested and calibrated. So it's checked in a number of positions, 5 positions, to ensure it's keeping time as accurately as absolutely possible and within our tolerances. After this is done, the gaskets are checked, lubricated with silicone grease, and the case back is then secured tight. The watch then goes for pressure testing and final quality control checks before it moves to our packaging.